stuff.
Yeah.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's time for Discussing Tabletop. I hope you're having a great Saturday. It's, of course, the end of April, 29th. Thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining me as usual.
Yeah.
If you missed out on this week, there's a lot to talk about. I'm going to just say that.
One.
Yeah. It can't be not a busy week, but it's a week of very up and down emotions, I think. So.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Yeah. I guess let's start. Because I guess the best place to start is with the elephant in the room.
Yeah.
And I'm going to preference this by something that I actually had as a topic before all of this hit. I was going to talk about a little bit about March of the Machines Aftermath. Because I learned a lot more what it is. And what's going on with this. And after learning it, we got more stuff related to it, which is the entire thing with the Pinkertons, which we're going to get to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But let's start by explaining what this is. This is a non-set. What I mean by that is, for a sign of sheer laziness or terrible storytelling or some kind of combination of those, of trying to get more products out with less work or something, the idea of March of the Machines Aftermath came about. Most sane Magic people agree, even like if you have complaints about the Phyrexian storyline, should have been 3 sets. It's 2. So instead of a 3rd set, we get a 50-card expansion coming out, honestly, in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not far off. It is like 3 weeks after the normal one came out. It is right away. It is 50 cards. But it's also non-draftable. Because if you're buying it, if you're buying a normal booster, it has 5 cards in it. Just 5. There are no common cards. It's 2 to 4 uncommons, and then 1 to 3 rare or higher.
Interesting.
The collector's boosters, which are, and they are a premium cost also, I will note.
Mm-hmm.
The theoretical MSRP is expensive, like, I think it's like estimated to be about the same as a normal pack for 5 cards.
Gross.
Yeah. Collector's boosters, incredibly expensive and stupid, because 4 cards of rare or higher and 2 uncommons, of which 5 or 6 are foil.
Okay.
Why aren't all of them foil?
Because screw you. Just buy more packs, nerd.
Yeah. Also, though there are only 50 cards, of which 15 are uncommons, 20 are rares, 10 are mythical, there are 180 alternate versions. Yeah. This entire thing is the existence of the worst parts of Magic in a nutshell. To begin with. This is what I was going to bring up before everything else happened. This is like everything going wrong with the Magic side of Wizards in its most blatant effort. You know, I've complained about the entire Phyrexian thing, and they wanted these major changes. Fine. The Phyrexian storyline, too short, whatever. 2 years, stupidly 2 years, fine, whatever. Unnecessary killing characters, fine, whatever. This is just stupid. But it gets stupider.
Money.
Yeah. It gets stupider. Because somewhere along the way, a person, old school MTG, got a hold of March of the Machine Aftermath. And I will link, there's the original Kotaku article, and I've got the 2 Gizmondo articles.
Yeah.
So there's the original Kotaku article. And let me get the 2 Gizmondo articles, because there's one That's the beginning of all this, and sort of like towards the end of all this too. But effectively, to give the best credence, and because there are details that we don't know about this entire thing, Old School MTG got a hold of this. He got a hold of these cards, and we assume from the words of it, whether or not he knew he was getting these cards or didn't, whether or not it was a mistake, that someone along the line sent it by him by mistake when it was supposed to be on hold, or there was some kind of illegal activity involved in him getting a hold of them. His actions, rather than a lot of his, the way he describes things, because there was some like confusion about like the origin of where he got them from. That I'm going to put on to sometimes you don't know as much. It's someone in a group of things sold me something.
I mean, it has a very similar name to a released product.
Yes.
So, a mix-up like that, hey, I've worked retail. It happens literally all the time.
So, here's where it comes in and it doesn't matter. Sounds like on this guy, especially for a lot of the circumstances, because he's a small channel, he does things, if you actually see his stuff, just for passion. He put card opening of this stuff up on his channel. Probably assumed, cool, I got these early for some reason. Maybe I'm not, doesn't know, shouldn't open them or something,
Yeah.
Doesn't think about it, Again, I certainly might recognize that, these are different than what I was expecting. Doesn't mean, if I get them somehow, I don't think I'm able to get them somehow.
Yeah.
Opens them up and puts them up on YouTube. So, this set, which I will tell you also, rather than being a very highly curated, really great set of 50 cards that makes you encourage you to be even more, kind of sounds like it's a little shit.
Yeah, it's just like garbage from what I've heard.
Yeah. So, that's even worse about this entire thing. Gets leaked. A large chunk of it. So, Wizards' response. Hire the Pinkertons to go get the stuff.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
So apparently they try to, from what I've heard, they kind of... Wizards has claimed they try to contact the guy, while there's information coming out from the Pinkertons saying that they tried to show up surprising him without informing him of them coming there, which is a contradiction. Sounds like Wizards trying to, hide stuff there and oh, no, we tried to call him and contact him. We couldn't reach him, That's why, we had our thugs show up unannounced. And they tried to, apparently, on a Friday and then got him on a Sunday, scared the shit out of him and his wife, got the cards from him, which, honestly, he didn't need to get threatened. Now, granted, they could have been different. It could have been a person you need to threaten. And I'm going to tell you, bring in fucking lawyers before you bring in the Pinkertons.
Yeah, man. I'm not going to go into the history of the Pinkertons. If you don't know, they're union busters.
I'm just going to... I have this. I'm going to just link the Wikipedia page, which is pretty good for looking if you want to learn about them.
A historical thing. I live in Western Pennsylvania. They have a very bad reputation here. They killed a bunch of strikers in Homestead at a point in history. Did the same thing in Reading with the railroad strikes. They're not good people. No.
They've never been known as good people. They have a Hura's seriously terrible reputation. And and Warren, you have a point. Cease and desist exists for a reason.
Yeah.
So, So, person basically strong-armed to shut this down, and, they didn't think this would get out. I don't understand the mindset here. No one really does. there does appear to be some connections between people in Hasbro and the Pinkertons, actually, which is one of those things that I'm like, what?
That's unfortunately common. A lot of major companies do have ties to the Pinkertons, one way or another. They are a very popular private security company.
Yeah, I guess so.
And their reputation is why.
Mm-hmm.
So all it takes is hearing that name, and then people usually back down.
Yeah. So, you know, scaring a person and their family, you know, threatening with jail time for opening cards that, you know, very well could have bought legally. You know, that's the thing is, spent a bunch of money on legally. Whether, you know that you're getting it ahead of time or anything like that, or you're just supposed to open. And the thing is, it's a person that has less than 4,000 subscribers. Not a major person.
I mean,
we're hacked.
Also, just like, I know that, and this is not to be insulting, but man, you sent the Pinkertons to secure your cards for a kid's card game.
Yes. Magic might be popular with a lot of adults, but it's
marketed towards teenagers.
Yep. It's marketed towards probably the preteen/teen audience.
13 and upwards.
Young people are where you want to get into. Then they stay along.
And a lot of older folks, we buy it as nostalgia, although that's dying out because of all of this now.
Oh yeah.
And
too many products. But that's an entirely different discussion.
But yeah, Magic is primarily a teenager marketed card game.
Kids game still works though, you know. It's accurate.
You're a kid until you're 20 years old.
Yes, the Pinkertons should have been sold to the person that sold them if you're going to be strong arming. But again, there's not a need for the Pinkertons at all.
Man, this could have just been handled so much better.
I was watching earlier this week. Clarion College was talking about it. Because I like his stuff for Magic the Gathering a lot of times, for a lot of the news, for discussions on it, so that I could, and of course I've got my own opinions on it. But the information that I got from that was that, Magic I know has had a lot of leaks over the past years. This seems to be the most extreme result reaction to one of these leaks that we know about.
Probably because they didn't want people knowing how bad it was before they bought it.
Yeah. Double Feature, which came out was that last year or the year before that? It was awful.
Yeah, Double Feature was terrible.
Because it was just two sets sandwiched together with just a weird black filter on it, so everything was discolored. And there were literal doubles that you were different numbers because it was actual two sets that some of them had repeat cards. So you'd have just two versions of the same card from different sets. It was awful. It was lazy. And this just proves it's another lazy attempt for another product.
Yep.
And go ahead.
Just Hasbro wants money.
Mm-hmm. They want to grow Magic Gathering. Yeah.
It's not attainable. Please stop.
Yeah. Stop trying. Your company's already.
We've seen this. Every company tries it. It never works.
And you're already having a lot of trouble, Hasbro. Please just
your stocks continue to collapse every year, dude. Just stop.
You're not helping Wizards be that bastion of money that you still have. You're making it not be that. Games Workshop. The people that do Warhammer have leaks too. When I heard one of their responses was, Imperial spies broke in and stole something.
They made a joke about it, right? Because here's the thing. Here's the cool thing about toys and video games. You're never going to stop people leaking your product. It's just not possible. You're never going to stop. It's always going to happen.
Yeah.
Somewhere, some way, it'll happen. So just don't send thugs.
Yeah. Don't send thugs.
Maybe, go through actual legal channels first. And hey, if it's not that bad, make a funny joke. When you're worse than Games Workshop, you really need to take a step back and look at yourself. Games Workshop is pretty bad.
Yes.
When you're worse than them, just take a little step back.
Yeah. It's like, and if you have a leak, take control of the narrative, which they didn't do at all. They allowed this narrative to continue on, and they can't sell, like, they could sell this. Like, if the cards look terrible, it doesn't necessarily mean they are terrible in a bubble,
Yeah.
We don't have the entire picture. They could paint the picture better. They could, say, like, remaining Phyrexian agents stole something, or the Demir from Ravnica, leaked something, They could make a joke about it, and then they could have everybody that was supposed to show off cards throw out their stuff, their videos really rapidly. Okay, big leak, take control of the narrative.
Turn it into a marketing thing.
Yeah. The point of pre-release is marketing.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's going to care about the pre-release season. Your marketing budget's screwed now.
Yeah, I mean, Wizards was only just slowly regaining the little bit of PR they could after what happened earlier this year. And that's gone again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know, man.
I think that was another thing I did hear when someone was talking about this, is that, like, after everything that happened with Wizards, the trust was gone. But they were at least at, like, okay, you did make some choices. Maybe someone in the higher-ups actually, like, someone that could say something, basically, like I said, get your shit together. Doesn't mean they are going to be perfect, but means that maybe they're not going to make really stupid decisions again. No. We weren't, like, it would have been probably years anyway to regain trust.
Yeah.
Now, I just don't want to even try to put trust in these guys. It's like, what are you doing? I have no trust that you're going to put out decent products. I have no trust that you're going to be, like, not threatening people randomly, strong-arming them, trying to, like, weed money out of people in very terrible ways.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know what else to say about this other than it is a thing that has happened, and there is just, okay, Wizards.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I feel like at this point I'm just not gonna buy another Wizards product.
Yeah. We also got, I have the,
You want me to get the UA?
yeah, the UA, if you would.
Let me get a try.
I forgot I have this.
Let me see if
I have a
can
Wizards
find it.
account here to sign in this thing.
I got it. Yes, I got it. I'll put it in chat.
So,
there you
go. Thank you.
That's the UA. It's long.
It is 50 pages. That came out this week. The Playtest 5. Now,
yeah.
The only thing I'm going to say is we knew the Playtest 5 was coming out. So, this is not like something new. This was something scheduled beyond everything that was happening.
Yeah.
I don't think it helps with everything that's happening.
I feel for the... I really do feel for the rule designers who just want to make their thing, and then the fucking PR idiots, the executives keep ruining it.
Yeah, they really do. The people in charge of Wizards of the Coast right now are not good executives to have.
Nope.
Harkins
and Crawford, cool dudes. They seem great. They make lovely rules. Man, I really feel bad for them and their team.
Like, I certainly, like, have to say, like, I've from experiencing them and listening to the decisions they make based on stuff, I have agreements and disagreements with the stuff, the way they do about rules and stuff. But that is not on an attack on them personally. That's a we can have discussions and understand, differences in rules
differently.
Yeah,
It's fine.
that
You know,
is
it says in the front of the book, these rules are, meant to be broken and such.
yeah. It's optional stuff technically, so great. Just so the playtest, more speed, feats, spells. They redo weapons, kind of a few of them here.
They've redone every weapon, and they've given them all little special abilities. Cleave is back.
Okay.
They're like, you got weapons that can push people. You've got weapons that can slow people. Weapons that can knock you down.
So that made weapons interesting.
Guns have better rules now.
That's good.
Our musket and pistol rules.
And then we have the barbarian, fighter, sorcerer, wizard, and warlock. All
My level with you. Haven't read anything but sorcerer and warlock.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go on a limb here. I'm gonna say that probably barbarian, fighter, and wizard, even if they're updated, aren't gonna be really out there.
They're probably just gonna be, hey, this is still a wizard, just says slightly different things, right?
Yeah.
The big thing is sorcerer is, I mean, it's still a sorcerer, but as you level, it just gives you free spells now, which is a good change. With sorcerers, big problems need spells. It has more. Its list will now have more sorcerer-specific spells rather than just having the one.
Okay.
You just, as a class feature, you are just given Chaos Bolt, and there was another one that was there, but I'm trying to find it. You just get Chaos Bolt now, which is the only sorcerer-specific spell in the player's handbook.
It does seem like they're having like class-specific spells still too, even with they have like a general list, and then there's like a couple of class-specific spells, which I'm gonna say I don't really mind doing that.
I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I don't have an issue with that.
Certainly there's stuff that happens like that, in the thing they're obviously ripping off Pathfinder 2nd edition. I'm not going to lie about that. They kind of do.
It's a little bit rip-off.
The
3 spell lists.
Yeah, with the 3 spell list. But they also have it that, like, there are these, like, focus spells and abilities that things have in Pathfinder 2nd edition. So having unique spells to a class I'm okay with.
Yeah, you get Chaos Bolt, and you get Sorcerer's Burst, which I assume is a new thing. I don't know what that is.
Some more epic boons, which I guess are like...
That's the new capstones. That's just what they're calling them.
I guess having more variety is fine.
It's okay. Most of the time, it's just an ability score increase, and then you get a special feat. But they're not going to matter for most games because you don't play up to 20 usually. Warlock is completely different. For starters, every other class is locked to, like, one casting mod, right? Warlock can pick any of the mentals to be their casting mod. You can be an intelligence, wisdom, or charisma warlock.
That's pretty good.
Warlock just gets Eldritch Blast. Eldritch Blast is no longer a spell everyone can take. It's just Warlock specific now.
Thank you. Honestly.
You get what you would previously get at level 3 was a Pact boon. That's at level 1 now. So you get your subclass and your Pact boon at level 1, which makes a lot of more sense to me. All Warlocks, because Warlock is a melee tilted caster, all Warlocks get medium armor now.
Okay.
You get an extra invocation, you get 9 instead of 8. Mystic Arcanum is now a invocation instead of a class feature, so you can take it earlier. Instead of Mystic Arcanum, you get an ability to talk to your patron mechanically. It gives you some stuff. Those are the big changes. which has, in my opinion, gone a long way in making it a functional class. Also, the boons do different things now. They give you special spells and do some extra stuff.
Okay.
Invocations have been changed a lot. Several have just been removed. Several have been changed. There have been a lot added. There is one that gives you 600 feet range on Hex, which is a lot.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot.
So there's a lot more casting focused a lot more casting focused invocations, which are good because there weren't many that were worth taking. So you can reasonably now play a caster warlock and not suck.
Cool.
The warlock changes, it gets a thumbs up from me, but again, warlock in 5e is the bottom of the barrel, literally the worst class.
It's multi-class fodder.
Yeah, it's you take 3 levels of it, and then you don't take any higher.
So barbarian, rage can be extended with a bonus action for each round. Taking damage doesn't extend it, but forcing someone to make a save does.
Okay.
And you can rage for up to 10 minutes per use rather than 1 minute. So that seems to be the big change on barbarian. I'm just going by the update, major design updates.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at.
There's a lot of other little stuff.
Notes.
Yeah, the notes. There's a lot of other little stuff which I'm just like, it's simple.
Like the other things are like all classes are now of a more rigid structure rather than wizard gets theirs at level 2, cleric at level 1. It's all level 3 now.
Yeah,
which I think is lame, but I understand from a design perspective. You want everyone to be on par with the same things.
Fighters get persuasion and more second wins. That seems to be most of it. Action surge does limit to fighter-themed actions. Honestly, I'm okay with that since it was like a...
What is a fighter-themed action? Well, okay, no, that's actually good, because that means you cannot spellcast action surge anymore.
Yeah, I think that's...
I agree. That is a good change. I think that is great.
Yeah, I agree with that one, too. And then change some levels around for fighter, it looks like, too.
Yeah, that's...
I'll go to wizard just to see this.
Three extra attack is now 18 to the 20. Yeah, that's some stuff that's strong. Sorcerer got a pretty decent overall. I already went over that. Wizord, where you at, buddy?
40. Spellbook can be your spellcasting focus.
That's a good change. I mean, I already ruled that as a thing, but that's a good change to have it in hard rules.
You're given a wizard-only spell, scribe scroll spell or something, apparently, which I guess scribes putting stuff into your spellbook. A little bit more consolidation. You just get a spell that allows you to do it. And then they move levels around. Other than that, it looks like it's just the same again, as we were kind of talking about.
I mean,
a few things changed around, but
yeah, I mean, you get the big thing because they added more actions. It looks like wizard is better at doing the study action, which is you make an intelligence check to know lore. I mean, that makes sense to me. Arcane recovery is a level 1 thing now. Good. They got a couple new features. They can create spells now. Let's see what that does. Create spell. Oh, you get okay, so you get... Interesting. You get... these are probably new actions that I have to look for, but...
There are probably some kind of rules for it. They're under spells, so that, like, those new spell list would be under there.
I don't know where those are at in here.
They are actually pretty high up, around 11. Where is this here? Create spell. Here is create spell. It's a 5th level transmutation wizard spell. Synthesize your arcane knowledge prior to create a new spell. To succeed, you must concentrate for 1 hour and meditate on on the spell you just altered with modify spell. Otherwise, the spell fails. Okay, so use the modify spell and then create spell to, like, permanently, I guess it.
Okay, so it's basically giving you hard rules for making spells, which kind of existed in 5th edition.
So it's...
Okay, so it's spellcrafting. Like, a better version of spellcrafting, because 5th edition kind of had it, and then it's kind of bad in every other D20 system.
Yes, I agree.
It's functional in Pathfinder, but I don't let people do it. It's a little much sometimes.
Yes, I agree on that one. This version of it, I'm both happier for it and unhappier for it because it's just modifying existing spells.
Yeah, that's
Which
fine.
is fine. It's like, oh, I create Cold Ball or Poison Ball.
This basically folds Scribe spell into normal wizard, which I think is fine. This is something Scribe spell could basically just do.
Yeah. I mean, like, again, yes, you had Necro Balls, honestly. Necrotic Fireball.
I don't see an issue with it. I mean, this is a good solution to not wanting to have a billion spells, right?
Yeah. You can start with a spell and then modify it to, like, the different versions you need by taking time and using your wizard abilities to do so. It's not a terrible idea, honestly. There are times where I really would like this kind of thing, so I'm okay with it.
I'm playing a cold-themed wizard. It is very disappointing there's not many cold spells.
Yeah, so just make the other elemental spells cold spells. Now you can.
It's good to have hard rules for that.
I don't know if there's any major changes in the basic rules as they've had them before from the last time.
Well, I think all the... let's see. I don't think there's anything major change that I saw.
So I'm gonna go on a limb here and say it's fine.
I think it's okay. I have to individually read through every class, which I will be honest, 50 pages. I don't want to do that. But from the little cliff note thing they have at the start of each class, I think that for the most part they're good changes.
Oh, here's the changes. Death saving throws replace the dying condition that appeared in previous UAs. Influence action clarifies the DM. Drives both use of the DCs in action. True Sight clarifies appearance of visual illusions, and they removed a bunch of things then. For now, I guess the tools.
There's some cool stuff because I think they're going to probably work on this later.
I assume they removed exhausted because they're going to work on that. Probably.
Yeah, they're doing a whole new exhaustion system.
That's again another fine thing, but
they're probably trying to make it not as crunchy because the one in the last year was. For every point of exhaustion, you took a -1 to every d20 roll, and that can get a little crunchy for 5e, which is not a number crunch system.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, again, if you want to check out the 1D&D playtest, whatever they're calling it, playtest on Earth Arcana, this one here.
It is still under 1D&D playtest. I don't know if they're going to ever change that or not.
Yeah. I'd say go ahead and check it out. I mean,
it's neat. It's got cool stuff.
Again, I kind of put it out this way is just because Wizards is really shitty doesn't mean you don't have to play 5e if you want to play 5e. And if you're interested in what they're doing on the creative side, because these are those people that we said are pretty good people and do a lot of work and don't deserve the flack for the shit that the people in charge are doing, go ahead and check these out.
Yeah.
In news that, will perhaps also split the gaming community in a way, though, because I forget that this is so popular, and it really is, randomly noticing.
I mean, they've got their own TV show on Amazon.
It showed up in my Twitter recommendations, or Twitch recommendations.
They're a popular bunch.
And it's like 10,000 people, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, dude, people watch this. I don't personally watch it anymore, but people watch Critical Role like crazy, dude.
Yeah. So, Critical Role announcing 2 RPGs, basically, is the big thing that they're doing. Well, they've also got a game, Queen by Midnight.
They've got a card game.
Yeah, card game.
A Battle Royale deck builder. It looks interesting.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, cool on them, they're doing that. But I think the 2 big things are 2 systems, which it feels like one of these will be replacing 5e, perhaps, with what their games are actually run through.
Yeah, I think they're. I had the suspicion since the OGL thing. I do think they are trying to split away from Wizards.
Yeah,
which is fair because it's only hurting their brand.
Yeah. So Daggerheart is the one which is a fantasy genre RPG. Which they're saying it's designed for long-term campaign playing character progression, which is basically.
I wonder what that would be.
Yeah, which is basically saying it's like a D&D or a Pathfinder. As much as you can play D&D 5e or Pathfinder with short games, the way it's built.
Interesting little note about Critical Role. It started out as Pathfinder.
Yeah.
People don't remember that.
Yeah. It's been so long, and
Started out
definitely...
as a Pathfinder game, and then when they moved to stream, they switched to 5e because it just came out.
And that's when the popularity really started. So it's like
Yep.
people don't remember the Pathfinder time as much. But honestly, you know, it will produce. It'll support their product. It'll probably sell a lot because people love Critical Role and want to try out the game.
These guys. I mean, they're a great bunch of people. I've met one of them. He was a cool dude. Taliesin, great dude.
I honestly...
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
They're big personalities, popular people. They do good work.
As much as sometimes I don't agree with the style that Matt Mercer does for GMing, honestly, because I don't always. He's a fine GM, and I have nothing against him
Man's
overall.
incredibly wholesome on Twitter.
Yeah, and that's the other thing about it. So, like, you know, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of his style, but again, everybody's got their own style.
I found Critical Role to be entertaining for a long while. I just don't have time to watch 5-hour episodes.
I tried getting into it back in the earlier days. And
it's hard to get into because, like, man, it's so long.
This was back when it wasn't that long, and it was fine, but it also was like, oh god, I
It's so the episodes are so long.
It's hard to put that like 2 hour like. I think because there's like a visual element to these, it's like I can put on a podcast while I'm driving around in a car on things, you know, and listen to that, which is a lot easier because there's usually not a visual element, and it doesn't matter, you know. It's a lot harder to do something like that where the times I have a lot of time to sit down and pay attention to something.
Yeah, when you're driving and listening to a podcast, you're not really paying attention to it that much.
Yeah. So yeah.
Hard.
Motorcycles. I actually have a motorcycle shop 2 doors down technically from me.
I'm
so
sorry.
It's summer. We're spring into summer. We're going to be hearing them more. They're usually pretty good, but there's always one. Usually once a week at least, you know. But so Daggerheart, that's the one, and the other one is Illuminated Worlds, which is a D6 dice pool system designed for shorter campaigns and stuff, and small adventures. I'm guessing. So neat. Smaller.
I'm glad they're doing more stuff with their publishing company and supporting smaller creators because that's kind of what they made this for.
Yeah, definitely. I'm happy to see that. I'm curious as to the effect that's going to be having for the community. Their game is definitely going to be big. What does this mean for the changes to the 5e community as it's evolving in these upcoming years, you know, and
we'll
the role-playing community? Anyway. So I will throw out this... I've got the Twitter announcement of it, but let's put out the blog announcement for this one, because not to be left out in the cold, Paizo announced something this week, which is... they're doing a remaster project of currently 4 of their books.
4 main Pathfinder 2e books.
Yeah. So Core Rulebook, Game Mastery Guide, Bestiary, and Advanced Player Guides are getting what they're calling these remaster treatments.
Yep. They're getting restructured, new, better rules, and such.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's kind of needed. Most important thing is it's being printed under the orc. But this is kind of needed because at least the core rule book is a little bit of a mess.
Yes. I will agree that I like this book, and the thing is, other than some rules clarification, this book will work just fine.
Yeah.
It's just that...
It takes a bit to thumb through and find where the things are at, because it's not perfectly... It has the same problem that the DMG has if it's laid out very poorly.
So, it's going to be redone. The big thing that's being removed is alignment, because and there's also from like the new bestiary version, they are removing some monsters. It's not that you couldn't use them if you have the old bestiary, but because they were more closely linked to the original SRD that was used for as part of it, they are phased out now. So their stats still exist for this edition of Pathfinder at least. But if you get the new bestiary, where, you know, we're not going to have alignment anymore as an actual thing, you know...
Yep.
you can express the existence of alignment without alignment, I think is the best way to say it.
Hard alignment rules are not fun for anyone.
Yeah. It's basically removing hard alignment. You can be a good person without having a good alignment.
Yeah.
It just means that you have more flexibility in understanding the nature of people and things because it's a mess, which is fine. I've always been hesitant because I'm always like I feel like this does require a little bit more flexing and finagling on the GM side for stuff, but that's why I've always been hesitant of it because alignment's always I felt was like a little bit of a crutch, but
yeah,
it's fine. I'm honestly fine with it.
I mean, to say how ridiculous alignment is, in Pathfinder First Edition, if you play a neutral Inquisitor, you lose a portion of your abilities. Sure, you could say, well, there are no neutral Inquisitors in lore. There are. The Construct God has neutral Inquisitors.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, the alignment just kind of punishes you a little bit.
It does, unfortunately.
There's no reason to not play neutral because all of the alignment spells don't target you for as much damage.
Yeah.
Something to note in the blog post. Scroll down. Will these changes impact Starfinder? Not yet. Please believe they will do a revised Starfinder edition eventually, which it kind of needs.
Yeah, I think it does need that too. They are probably going to do more for like some of the for the other bestiaries they've done for the players' core books. They're going to do stuff that are coming out from now into the future. We don't have to worry about that,
Yeah.
But some of their major old books, they're doing this kind of refresh, moving a couple of rules around here and there so they're more appropriately in places that they are. And as they say, the new rules will be uploaded to Archives of Nethys as usual, and legacy content does not appear in Remaster's book, will not disappear from online rules. I love that they say that you can just go to freaking Archives of Nethys if you want to check out this stuff.
I do love that they just put their rules up for free.
Yeah. Starfinder does have middle child syndrome.
Starfinder is the awkward edition, yeah.
It's cool. It's an interesting idea.
It kind of needs a second edition.
Yeah. I feel like that's probably the better bet, and maybe that's what they're going to be doing.
They might do a set. Because it has some issues with how character creation is done and shit.
Mm-hmm. So this isn't a new edition. This is it's all the same rules technically, all the same things.
Basically a reprint.
Yeah, it's a reprint and restructuring, and the biggest thing that you're going to see for rules change is some clarifications and errata being printed rather than you have to look them up in errata.
Yeah. Very annoying.
Yeah. And so yeah, and of course you can get. Of course they sell a special edition because people love those, and the pocket editions because people love those. But I think it's pretty good that they're doing it. I'm happy that this is a good idea. I think honestly.
I agree.
We have another product from the Alien RPG. So I'll throw that one out here. It's Building Better Worlds, which is a new massive...
that's the Weyland-Yutani corporate's logo.
Yeah. It's a new campaign module because they do these campaign modules that usually adds a lot of rules and stuff and different ways of playing. It gives you all the tools you need to run a full open world campaign as a pioneer, explorer, or colonist. So this is colony rules.
Before you would either the two rules that there were before were the Marines or the space truckers. Basically, those are the only two rules you had. Now there's rules for being on the colony people.
Yeah. Again, it allows for a lot of more choices for play styles in the same universe, which I like the idea of. Maybe you could play a game where you're doing the colony that happened in Aliens, except
Tabletop.
Maybe you get out of the shit rather than fall to it kind of thing. You figure it out ahead of time. You have that chance of not everybody dying horribly, except for a small child.
Most people did die there.
Yeah. So, but a campaign like that. So it'll also provide, of course, a some campaign information and stuff. I assume they'll have like some kind of little adventure and stuff along with all the world building stuff. So definitely. They also do plan to have a few new xenomorphic creature to encounter, which I'm also okay with because
this will likely be pulled from the comic series, because the comic series does have a lot of very neat, interesting new types of xenomorphs in it.
I'm going to tell you here also, there was a toy line.
There was a toy line.
The toy line had some cool things in it that I'm like, why aren't these ever in like the movies or something?
Well, they don't make these movies anymore,
No.
because Ridley Scott decided not to.
Yeah.
All went downhill after Alien 3, even though I think Alien 3 is fine.
Alien 3 I think was fine. I think it was not super
Resurrection
great.
was really bad.
Oh, Resurrection's terrible.
Prometheus, terrible. Covenant, worst movie I've ever seen. Well, no, worst Alien movie I'd say is Covenant.
I mean,
It's the one with 2 Michael Fassbenders.
Alien vs. Predator 2 was pretty bad.
Well, those aren't canon. Also, it's a separate series.
I know, but they are an Alien movie technically.
But those both of the AVP movies are pretty bad.
The first one was at least half decent.
Yeah.
It was like a popcorn movie.
It was kind of a butchering of a great comic series.
Yeah, it really was.
Ridley Scott is a hack, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
He made 2 good worlds, and then that's it.
So, that is a thing. That is out, and we can talk about that a little bit there. And, more Alien stuff is cool. So I'm going to tell you something about this that I don't know much about the Valiant Entertainment and Valiant Comics. But Green Ronin Press is putting out an Valiant Adventures RPG.
Neat.
So, I'm going to be honest. I guess, it's made in conjunction with Valiant Entertainment, which I think is the Valiant Comics people. It sounds like. So it's stuff based on their comic book lines. Is it going to be an open system RPG? I'm not 100% sure.
Oh, okay. No, I know these guys. They made comics for Turok.
Oh, they're the Turok people. That's why I've recognized their names.
They did Turok, and they did. Man, this is gonna be a blast from the past that most aren't gonna remember. The Armorines game. They did a comic for that as well. So it was basically just an old N64 game as a ripoff of Starship Troopers.
Oh, okay. And I see what they're doing here. They're taking their Mutants and Masterminds system and using that to make this. So it's going to be very similar to Mutants and Mastermind.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of Valiant stuff is generally in that superhero-ish genre. Even Turok as like a dude
Turok
is still like...
He's a superhero.
He is a superhero. He's like time travel, dimensioning hopping Native American guy that fights dinosaurs. That's not giving it the half of the entire description of what Turok does.
Fights aliens, to be fair.
He does fight aliens because they mess with the dimensions and time and stuff, and they're cyborg dinosaurs. And look, what was it? If you want the essence of what Turok is, what is it? The video game where you fight the Civil War guy on a cybernetic dinosaur.
Oh man, Turok Evolution. That game was terrible.
I remember his name because there was the one, like, was it Electronics Gaming Monthly or something had the awards. It was like Tobias Bruckner. That was it, because they had the rewards for the worst games of the year were based on that.
It's absolutely one of the worst games. But the final boss of that game is a Texan dude, like a Confederate on a T-Rex that has like a minigun. It's absurd.
But I had to say it. That does represent a lot of.
That is what Turok is.
That is what Turok is. It's not a good game, but it represents Turok well. So now
Turok is based on a comic from the 50s, so you can kind of guess why it's the way it is.
Yes. So yeah, they're basically adding in a little bit of the Mutants and Mastermind. I've played a little bit of it.
I've never played Mutants and Mastermind.
It's a superhero D20 system. At least the one I did a version of. They might have different versions of it. Very simple system, but it felt a little like campy superhero. This is a little more darker and grittier superhero, which honestly I'm fine with a version of that. We other than like the Aberrant system as it was back in the day, which I'm not even sure because I haven't really tested out the new Trinity system, if the new version of Aberrant is maintaining that dark and grittiness. There isn't a lot of that kind of stuff in superhero RPGs a lot of times. So, anyway, not that I do a lot of superhero RPGs, because they are tough to run.
They're a little weird sometimes.
Yeah, they can be fun, but weird. So, yeah. Honestly, you know, if you're a fan of any Valiant comics, you can have some, adventures based on it coming out later, or early next year, it looks like, is when it releases. We got a couple of things from Modifius, because they always do nice things.
Woo.
So we'll start with Dreams and Machines, which is this is a far-flung future world, danger, excitement, optimism. Set on a far-flung planet cut off from Earth. The world's left in ruins after war, and destructive mechs known as walkers are around the area. So, yeah. Future space, human exploration, robot...
Mech game. Fight the robots. I presume that's what you're doing, is fighting robots.
Probably. You may or may not get in robots, or the robots might be fighting. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know. It's one of those things you know about robots. Uh-oh.
Got a good art style.
Yeah, the good art style. This Modifius, this website for just doesn't want to cooperate with me. I'm going to have to... I don't know, something about it. That is the only thing that's been announced. That's a neat one. We do have some Fallout the role-playing game. We were talking about Wasteland Warfare the other week. And we have two things here. First off, there is a adventure PDF that's come out, Orange Colored Sky, where it's about a clinic of doctors that have been established in ancient Hops in the middle of a Ruven city. And, I guess, you're helping them out with problems.
Presumably.
There's something going on.
Presumably helping them.
Yeah.
Or you get the wacky twist of being evil, because I think those are always kind of an option in these games.
Yeah. 22-page adventure in 3 acts for characters level 6 to 10. And it's got the hospital in the area for use. So that's the adventure that's been released. And they're also planning on bringing us a lot bigger of things. The Winter of Adam that they've been talking about.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring it up also because they've spoiled a giant insect monster. The Gigapede, a massive mutated centipede monster.
That's terrifying.
Yes. It's pretty awful looking, you know? Giant centipede monster that now, you know, can show up. It's a level 18 legendary creature.
Nice.
You know, it's like it's Super Deathclaw? No, giant centipede monster, because yes.
Yeah. If only Bethesda could make interesting things like this.
Yeah. Half man, half bug.
Half man, half bug, half man, all evil. I have like a list of things I want out of the Fallout role-playing system, and so far they're delivering on it.
And just because I can't help but not shout out another playtest, because there is another one that I forgot. Honestly, I think I heard about them doing this, but I have not been paying enough attention to it. There is Kobold Press is doing their core fantasy role-playing playtest. So this is not what is it called from Black Flag now? I keep remembering it's Black Flag.
Black Flag was what it was called.
Yeah, I'm trying to...
It's not it? This
is actually... I don't know what this is.
Thing?
Yeah. The core fantasy role-playing game, which is... It might be the same, but it might not be. I don't know.
That might just be what they're calling it.
They could be. I thought they were calling it something else, but who knows. I might just be misremembering, too, because that sounds like me. But anyway, it's the third packet of it. It's got some monsters and stuff in it. It is compatible with 5e material, but it's made to be like a supplement that expands upon original 5e.
This is just Project Black Flag, yeah.
Okay, good to know that they're calling it Core Fantasy. Role-playing games.
Hey, there's actual rules here you can test.
Yes! And this appears to be a lot about monsters and stuff and other things like that. So I'm guessing some of the other playtest material has like characters and stuff, and there's their monsters.
Probably. I'll be honest, I haven't paid a lot of attention to this one.
I gotta be honest too, I really haven't. You know, I kind of, that's why I wanted to at least give a shout out that they have more of these playtests and you can check them out. And if you want to look at,
playtesting is good.
Yeah, if you want to look at their list of monsters and stuff and try to test it out yourself and look at it, this can be a thing that's familiar because it does take 5e and moves beyond it, and is backward compatible with 5e. Maybe this is a thing to look at because it is an evolution of 5e in a way that maybe this is what you want from it rather than what Wizards is doing, honestly. If you want an evolution of your 5e games and don't want to stick around for whatever hell that playtest is going to end up being in the end.
Oh, man.
Because honestly, when they finally put it out after all these playtests, you're gonna have to buy books.
You will have to spend $50 to $60 on a book.
And
potentially more than one.
And they're
likely more than one.
And they're probably not going to have PDFs.
No, Wizards doesn't know how to do PDFs.
So, this is another option, just to keep in mind. So yeah, I think that's news for this week.
Yeah.
So, I did want to talk about something today, and this is a topic that I thought about after this morning, because this morning I do some tabletop talking on Saturdays. I talked about Mage, the Ascension.
I'm sorry.
That's the proper response.
I never played Mage. I just know it's a mess.
Mage comes into the mess when I talked about, because rather than talk about character creation or the basic world, I started with the thing that was the mess, which is the magic system. Which the magic system is what makes Mage a mess. It's sort of like, I think this is the issue that I have to kind of talk about, and it's systems which are easier for players, or the complexity for players does not match up to the complexity for the GM, DM, storyteller, whatever it is. And what this means as if you're a DM handling this kind of thing. Because another system that I really like is Shadowrun. Shadowrun can be pretty complex.
Yep.
But the complexity really hits into whoever's running it more than anything.
Yeah.
And Mage is exactly the same way. These games can be fun, but they are an awful mess to run. Talking about Mage and remembering the stuff for this game system hurt my soul, I'm going to have to say a little bit.
Fair.
It's an interesting idea, but it's sort of like you pull shit out of your ass constantly. That's the system. It's the, what can I do? What can my levels of what I design my character do? I'm doing it. Roll some die. That's true. Magic is Shadowrun. You ignore 3 out of 6 of those rules. I'm going to tell you, actually using magic in the dice systems in Mage is very similar to that. There's a couple of rules. You do them. The problem is, half of those rules require your storyteller to basically tell you something and make determinations on the spot. You say, I want to throw a fireball out there. Your storyteller has to be like, this is what you need to use it. I have to come up with that on the spot. I want to go travel to the moon. What the hell do I need?
I see.
And Shadowrun has like 3 of the same system layered on top of each other. Like, don't get me started. 4th and 5th editions Shadowrun are so wonderful. 1st through 3rd have so much more. And I tried running those systems. Are there other systems that you can think of that scream this? It's a pain in the ass for a GM.
So, Cyberpunk, right? There's one portion in Cyberpunk that is a nightmare to run as a game master: net running. So much so that I used to run Cyberpunk 2020 a lot in high school because we weren't allowed to play D&D because it was satanic. But Cyberpunk, totally fine. Didn't have magic in it, so hey, that's kid friendly.
I'm gonna tell you here. My school had a similar rule. Couldn't play D&D. You could play World of Darkness.
Yeah, D&D. Nah, that's satanic. These other games with more horrible things in them, go right ahead.
World of Darkness has literal demons that you could have played with, and it would have been allowed because D&D is satanic.
You just open the first couple pages of the Cyberpunk book, you can see art that's like, man, this shouldn't be allowed in school. Anyways, don't allow your players to play a Netrunner because there are no pre-built systems for net running. You have to make all of them. Even in Red, which is the newest edition of Cyberpunk, you still have to build all of net running yourself. So much of that is just kind of recommended. Don't let your players do this. Make a Netrunner an NPC. They just do it. You're good.
It's a cool concept, but they didn't really build anything for it, and it's hard to build stuff for it.
It's really hard to do it, and even in, because in the video game, you can net run. You can do all the hacking and stuff, and it's really cool. And the video game hacking is actually pretty true to what they have you do in the RPG. But the problem is, in the RPG, it's an RPG, not a video game with set rules and everything in front of you. The DM has to make all the shit.
Because you could steal the video game's rules.
Yeah, I think they have a supplement for net running now for Red. I think they have a whole supplement dedicated to it.
Yeah, it's we as the people that run the game versus again, players can have systems that are more complex.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Certainly, Shadowrun, even as a player, I'm going to tell you is more complex than 5e.
Oh god, dude, I still have nightmares when I played a rigger for 2 years.
Riggers I would not recommend as a newer character.
Oh, it's so fucking hard, dude.
There are archetypes I would recommend for a newer player.
Play a Street Samurai.
Yeah, Street Samurai. Covert ops specialist.
Yeah. The reporter face dude, whatever the hell they're called.
Face, whatever. There are plenty of other just simpler archetypes you could just play. Ignore anything to do with the Matrix or anything to do with magic if you want something simple. Even magic is a little better than the Matrix because honestly you could just be a mage and have 5 spells and just blast those out with the using the I only have to roll 3 things for a spell rules, Just keep things standard. You can make it easy. It never happens for
don't use the astral plane.
Don't use the astral plane. Don't use the astral plane. And if you want to keep it simple, don't summon spirits either.
Yeah.
That's the first level of difficulty. But as we're saying, there's these layers and systems that are in place. They just create a headache to a degree for players, but really for the person running the game. It's the reason that I hadn't talked about mage when I've talked about vampire and werewolf, because those systems have their issues, but they can be just run pretty easily.
Yeah.
Mage has all that stuff that you do and just make some shit up.
Mm-hmm.
Hope it works, yay. So it's not that we don't recommend people running these systems. I think that's why I kind of want to talk about this. It's you shouldn't do it if you're a new TM. I'm going to tell you that there.
Yeah, you get a little bit of experience for you to jump right into Shadowrun.
I would recommend, and it's still a more difficult system, something like, even go to like 1st edition Pathfinder. Now, I really recommend 2nd edition Pathfinder now over that. But if you want something that has a little bit more of a bite and challenge to get yourself test waters for something difficult, go for something like that. You know, like a classic system that still works very well.
Yeah.
You know, 5e is a fine system. It's just relatively easy to run and relatively easy.
It's
to
very
stuff.
simple. It's a very simple cut dry system.
So you're probably not going to have many issues with 5e or Pathfinder 2nd edition in general.
Any issues you have with 5e are probably going to be caused by your players.
Accurate. But if you want to do these systems and rules, Shadowrun has got a cool world. Cyberpunk's got a cool world.
Yep.
The concept behind Mage the Ascension is a really neat idea. You just have to be ready for it and have some, like,
Hey, I got a hot,
skill.
cool tip for those of you who have purchased Cyberpunk 2077. If you go into the files for it, there is a PDF of Cyberpunk in there. I believe at least on Epic. I don't know if it's on Steam, but on Epic, they gave you a free PDF of, I think, 2020.
Yeah.
Cool. And for 2020, if you want to run Red, it's effectively 2020. You can use rules and items from 2020 and put them into Red. It is 20. Red is just another edition of. I think that it's another edition of 3rd edition Cyberpunk.
I think it's basically just they changed the time period for it.
They changed the time period and they made it a little less harsh.
Yeah. So fixed up a few things.
They modernized it a bit.
Yeah.
It's a great system. But you can get 2020 for free if you own Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah. And see, that's a great start for that kind of thing. There are great starts you can have for some of these systems. Like, any D20 or D10 system. Mm-hmm. If you want to get into like something like Mage, I definitely recommend starting out with, I don't know, any other of the ones.
Yeah.
You want some combat, go Werewolf. You want existential dread and some politics, go Vampire. Not 5th edition. I would, well, unless you really want the monster dread and less of the politics, then 5th edition is your...
Yeah, you could probably make 5th edition work.
I figure you can, but like honestly, like
it takes a little bit of work.
If you want less work and you want more of the politics side of Vampire, which is usually the part, honestly, most classic players would like. For V20 or something, you probably get a cheap PDF. So there are places to start out with to cut your teeth.
Child.
Yes, my niece is being silly in the hallway. Of course, because, you know...
Naturally.
One of these days I'm going to have to steal back my door if she keeps up with these noise in the hallway.
Who stole your door?
She did.
Why?
Because there was a door to my room and a door and a door to my brother's room, but there is a secondary room that is her room in front of my brother's room. That was like a small like computer office area. That became her room. She got the door because I was nice enough to, so that she could be separated off and she could close her door at night.
I mean, doors aren't that expensive. You
Yeah.
gotta find one that fits.
Yeah.
You have to measure a little bit, you know?
Man, it would be nice to have a door again.
Yeah, it would.
I remember those days. Anyway, I'm very distracted by lack of door. It's a thing that, like, there are a lot of fun systems that have really cool worlds, but are unfortunately challenging. And I'm sure I'm missing a lot of games here that are challenging games that you can play out there. I just think it's, like, my suggestion is, if you want to play them, cut your teeth somewhere else, and then it's one of those ones that you can't go in without a lot of research. Like, I was saying earlier today, if you really want to run Mage, the, 2 hours I spent summarizing a 100-page section as best I can to simplify it, read through that on your own. Really get an idea of what's in there, because you gotta get some familiarity before you do that. And the same could be said for when you're diving into Shadowrun or Cyberpunk and, knowing what your limit is. not doing net running in Cyberpunk is really a helpful thing.
Yeah.
Avoiding a lot of actually hacking in the Matrix or astral plane stuff in Shadowrun helps it a lot. Being ready to say no to the shit your players might try to pull out of their asses with Mage might be the way, and threaten them with Paradox, because as soon as you threaten them in Paradox, don't say no to that. Say, like, be like, hey, reality hates that idea. If you want to do it, reality is going to screw you over. Be ready for it. You know? So. Anyway, it wasn't a huge topic, but I feel this was an interesting one to bring up of, you know, difficult games exist, complex games exist, and they're fun to run. How about our weekend gaming? Did you do anything last Sunday?
Yeah, we did things on Sunday. I introduced my temporary character, assuming the world doesn't blow up before my main character comes back. Always possibility. Sell as a player. And then we broke into a place rolled like garbage, naturally.
Of course.
Stole some documents, learned some things, and then we went into someone's dreams again, learned more things. Cell is trying to trade patrons, so he's interviewing as many powerful creatures as he can.
That just sounds so silly.
He went to because one of the characters, Jay's character, can access the Feywild through his dreams. So Cell went to the Feywild and tried to interview an Archfey for patron potential, only to be told the Archfey doesn't like to discuss business while partying.
Once you stop partying. Stop partying.
He's gonna go talk to an old man who's maybe gonna turn into a zombie or something. I don't know. I did call because I know the wizard kind of. I did call the wizard and was like, well, what's he offer? I'm like, I don't know, his soul or something. So I did just offer Cell's character soul to a wizard. I saw that Cell's character doesn't have anymore. But my character doesn't know that. Oh yeah, the Changeling Feyman did summon a pixie with a clipboard to talk to Cell's character about a deal. We discovered that the Cell's predicament is a class B. B stands for bad.
This is a class B issue. It's very bad. Good times.
It was very fun, and it was a very fun session. Yeah, at the end of it, rolling like garbage didn't feel great, but it's D&D.
I mean, and honestly, sells in a game. He seems to attract bad rolls.
Wait until you hear about Tuesday.
Oh boy. Well, I didn't do anything Monday, so if you didn't do anything Monday either, we can move on to Tuesday.
Man, Tuesday was the session where none of us could roll, except for Cell.
Wow, different than normal.
Cell crit like 4 times.
Wow.
Yeah. We got an introduction. I was half asleep because I had a terrible day for most of that day. So it's like zoning in and out through the introduction of the story. Don't remember any of it. I'm sure I'll get told what it was next week.
Okay.
We fought some robots on a space station. None of us could roll. Even the DM. Only Cell could roll. Cell's the only one who rolled anything in that game. The rest of us rolled below 10 every time. It was depressing.
Jeez.
So we killed 2 robots, and then the session ended. You hit once, that's true. You hit once for 1 damage, Lighting.
Well, you know, in progress.
You shot a firebolt, and as we all know, when you play a spellcaster, you roll a 1 on your cantrip constantly.
Yeah.
Oh, you did resort to shooting with your gun. That's true. You did shoot a laser gun at him.
Well, good.
I didn't do anything. I failed all my attacks.
Good times. We had like a work
in
session.
A meeting.
Yeah, a meeting Wednesday.
We were a little sidetracked for an hour, but we got it done.
we did get it done. We're prepared for next week. We know what's happening, at least. I've got an idea of where the story is going. I have a lot of work ahead of me, but hey, I've got villain stats for when I need to bring those in.
Ooh, it did give you Hell Knight stats.
Yeah, and I got some...
They do need a little editing, but because they're a little low CR for what we need to face.
Yeah, I've got a couple of stats. Well, the thing is, hopefully you won't be facing anybody, you know?
It's unlikely, but I mean, one man is a big lizard, so there's only so much we can do to hide him.
Yeah, there really is only so much to hide. I have no idea how long this next season's going to go. I've got to be honest. I'm not planning for anything long, but I'm leaving it open because there's so much stuff that you folks could do to just bring us in unusual directions.
Yeah, like, I don't know how long our little excursion is going to take, but, you know, it should be fun at least. I did DM you some NPCs.
You did DM me some NPCs, and I've took a look at them. I didn't, look all the way through them, so I've got some plans that I was building, and I'll use that for some things, so... I got some ideas and some plans that will be used, and they'll be fun.
Ideas.
Did you do anything on Thursday?
Thursday, I ran my game. They went to another dimension, basically. Went to I just dropped my pain meds. I'll pick this up later. They went to what I described as a mirror of the current plane.
Mirror world.
Basically... They've been Zelda'd. There's the dark world and the light world. They're currently in the light world now. They woke up in a building, found a cool note, learned some stuff, went to meet a lady. Lady is a exact replica of a fae that they killed.
Well, you know.
That's, the law word. She doesn't know because she's a different person, maybe.
Hopefully.
I guess we learned that they're in an exact replica of of the world they just came from, except it's really bright now. And that's kind of the session. Is they wandered around a bit, talked to some people, got a quest to go kill a lake monster. Really, the game has the length of the game depends on how quickly the players do things and how much they fuck around. Right, because they could explore whatever. I don't care. I'm happy running my weird chaos world. They can do whatever they want, but eventually the game is going to end.
Sounds like an adventure they're going to have to figure out.
Really depends on if they focus on solving their issue versus exploring. That'll depend how long the game.
Anything on Friday?
Nope.
Okay.
Didn't do anything on Friday.
Hey. World Explode. Yeah, hey, well, next week will be exciting. Buccaneers is coming back, and then I've got May the 4th be with Star Trek, which I'm much better than last year because I've already got players that are already making characters.
Hey, mine's half done.
Look, I've got to admit, last year was a lot last moment because I forgot it was coming up. This I was like a couple weeks ahead. I'm like, I'll start poking people and see who's around.
Mine would be done, but the PDF exporter on that website doesn't work.
Yeah.
So I only could put it in my core stats because you can't go back and look at what the talents do.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying. Unfortunately. I haven't used that website in a while. I think I played around with that once.
The website is fine, but it doesn't work half the time.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's an interesting idea. But look, I've got the ideas for what's going to happen. I'm ready for it. I've got a basic storyline. I just have to make sure to organize my acts because it's a one session, so I've got to compress some things in my brain and make sure we're ready to at least, here's how long I want parts 1, 2, 3 to go kind of thing. Or part 1 and 2, I don't know. I'll do a 3-act structure, but in 2 parts because honestly the break in the middle has just been so much nicer than, 2 breaks. Gotta admit. Anyway, I think that's it for today then. I can't think of anything else. I think that was our week in Tabletop. We had a good discussion topic. So if you missed it this week, I did talk about some things. I've got a new schedule kind of when it comes to tabletop discussions. I hit up on weird alternate metatypes on Shadowrun, which gets into a lot. Shadowrun's a really, really, it's still an awful world. You gotta remember that it's an awful world. Plenty of awful people, plenty of nice people too. But you're not playing all great people anyway. I talked about some stuff.
No, you're doing crime.
You're doing crime. I talked about the overall world of Galarian on Wednesday. That was fun. Talking about all the different continents and stuff, and mentioning that similar to Faerun, they have a mysterious Australia standout that no one knows anything about too. Maybe kaiju hang out there. There are actual kaiju in other parts of the world, so I could easily put them there and just be like, they're also there too. Just like I did with records. And then I did Mage earlier today, if you missed that, which was... I'm glad I did it, and I don't have to do it again. But I'm glad I did it and don't have to do it again. Yeah, that sounds about right. So, schedule next week, just to go over that. Tuesday, I'll do potluck role-playing stuff. Thursday is try to do Pathfinder 2nd Edition something or other. Saturdays, before discussing tabletop, is going to be World of Darkness stuff. Right now. Unless I don't have a good World of Darkness topic that I'm ready for, and then I'll do something else that's a little easier. Because those usually require a lot more work to set up. Anyway, remember to check out the stuff. Both Buccaneers of Shacklesea and May the 4th be with Star Trek are going to be at 9 on their respective days. Buccaneers on Wednesday, 9 o'clock on Thursday for May the 4th. Let's see here. I will be doing... I don't remember my list of stuff that I'm doing. I remember what I was doing. I have to test that out tomorrow. That's what I have to do. I'm going to see if I can get one. I'm going to see if I can get a one of the Final Fantasy VI randomizers working for Monday.
Good luck.
Yeah, I'll play around, see if I can get one working. If not, I'll figure something else out. But I was busy. I was going to do that like some point today, but it was a busy day with all the other stuff. So that's the kind of generalized schedule right now. But that'll be Monday for now. For some gaming stuff, and I think that's all that I have to shout out. Check out YouTube for videos that are being uploaded. This will probably be up on Monday for if you missed part of it, or you can check it out with the VODs here. I usually save those. My Discord, Twitter, good place to check out what I'm doing. Thank you for joining me again this week, Momo.
No problem.
I can't think of anything else to shout out, so I'm just going to say, hey, everybody, have a great rest of your Saturday, great rest of your weekend. I'll see you Monday, and Momo will be joining me for both Wednesday and Thursday this week. So, that's that. And everyone, farewell, everybody. Goodbye. Because I can't think of anything else. Goodbye.